Hey YNR fans! Welcome to YNR Trends, your young and the restless updates, shocking spoilers, and all the drama. So grab your coffee, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive right into Genoa City's hottest gossip. The Young and the Restless has always thrived on layered storytelling, character-driven conflicts, and the kind of emotional entanglements that resonate with longtime fans while drawing in new viewers. For the episode set to air on Wednesday, September 24th, 2025, the spoilers suggest an installment rich with tension, power plays, and emotional revelations. An analysis of this upcoming episode requires not just a look at what is expected to unfold but also an exploration of the larger narrative arcs and character motivations that have brought the story to this point. The central dynamic for this day seems to revolve around the fallout of recent betrayals and choices made by characters who have found themselves backed into corners. One of the most prominent threads likely to continue involves Victor Newman, whose control over both his family and business empire remains a driving force in Genoa City. Victor is not only the patriarch but also the master strategist whose decisions ripple outward, touching nearly every other storyline. If spoilers indicate that he is pressing his influence harder than usual, then viewers can expect scenes where his children and rivals are forced to either align with him or resist, which usually has long-lasting consequences. When Victor pushes, people often break or reveal weaknesses that otherwise remain hidden. This creates the potential for dramatic confrontations, whispered alliances, and moves that change the board for weeks to come. At the same time, spoilers suggest that some emotional fallout will center around family ties, particularly when it comes to relationships that have been tested by deceit. This could involve Nick, Victoria, or Adam, each of whom has a complicated relationship with their father and with each other. Nick, often torn between his moral compass and his sense of loyalty, may again find himself in conflict with Victor's methods. Victoria, who has long fought for recognition as a capable leader in her own right, could be forced to either obey or rebel against yet another test of loyalty. Adam, perpetually seeking acceptance while being simultaneously distrusted, might find himself at the center of a new plan that challenges his ability to rise above his past. Wednesday's episode will likely show these characters making choices that will ripple across the fall season, either strengthening the Newman family as a unit or driving deeper divisions that leave them vulnerable to external threats. Romantic tension will also likely play a large role in the September 24th episode. In Genoa City, love is never simple, it is always entwined with secrets, betrayals, and old wounds. One possible highlight is the continuation of the storyline between Kyle and Summer, whose dynamic has shifted dramatically over the past months. Kyle's relationships, particularly when they involve loyalty to his family versus loyalty to his heart, often create fallout that extends beyond just his personal life. If he and Summer are at odds, it could affect Harrison, their extended families, and even business ties within Jabot. A confrontation or emotional scene between them would add layers to the larger drama unfolding. Summer, often underestimated, has become stronger and more independent, while Kyle continues to wrestle with conflicting responsibilities. Their scenes could offer both the heartbreak of two people who once shared a deep love and the bitterness of betrayal or mistrust that has not yet healed. Adding to this complex web is the ongoing presence of Audra, who has been maneuvering her way into power circles and exploiting opportunities whenever they appear. If Audra continues to play Kyle against others while inserting herself into Newman business, then Wednesday's spoilers might be hinting at moments where her ambition becomes clearer, even if it makes her more dangerous. She thrives in chaos, and if the Newman family drama continues to escalate, Audra is exactly the kind of character who would find a way to turn that into leverage. The Abbott family could also play a crucial role in this episode, particularly Jack and Diane. Their relationship has been tested again and again, especially when it comes to trust and outside interference. Jack has always been protective of his family, but when his emotions get involved, particularly regarding Diane, his judgment sometimes falters. If any spoilers point to tension at the Abbott mansion or business troubles at Jabot, viewers can expect Diane to be at the heart of the matter either as a stabilizing force or as a spark that ignites old feuds. Phyllis may not be far from this orbit either, as her long-standing rivalries with Diane and her need to prove herself often bring her into conflict with Jack, Kyle, and others. Wednesday's episode could easily set the stage for another round of Abbott vs. Phyllis clashes, which always add intensity to the canvas. Meanwhile, Sharon's storyline continues to intertwine with her family and her connections to Nick. Sharon has survived loss, love, and countless struggles, but in recent months her role has shifted to that of both counselor and woman in search of her own peace. If spoilers suggest that Sharon is featured in this episode, her scenes may involve emotional guidance for someone else while also hinting at her own future. Perhaps she will be the voice of reason as Nick once again spirals, or perhaps she will find herself confronted with romantic or personal challenges that force her to reconsider her priorities. Sharon's calm strength has long been a grounding force on the show, but the writers often use her stability as a counterbalance to sudden upheaval. A seemingly quiet moment on Wednesday could end up foreshadowing a larger emotional storm for her in the coming weeks. In terms of pacing, a midweek episode like September 24th usually balances the resolution of early week cliffhangers with the setup for Thursday and Friday drama. This means viewers can expect a mix of payoff, answers to questions posed earlier in the week, and new twists designed to pull audiences deeper into the story. If the spoilers emphasize confrontations, that means Wednesday will likely feature charged dialogue and tense standoffs rather than sweeping resolutions. The drama may simmer just enough to set up an explosive ending on Friday, which has long been the show's strategy for keeping fans talking over the weekend. From a thematic standpoint, the September 24th episode appears to emphasize loyalty, betrayal, and the consequences of ambition. Characters who have chosen self-interest over family may face exposure or retaliation, while those who have tried to remain loyal could find their trust misplaced. Victor, as always, embodies this duality. His manipulations may be framed as protection, but his children often interpret them as control. The younger generation, represented by Kyle, Summer, Audra, and others, continues to wrestle with the legacies of their parents' choices while also carving out identities of their own. These intergenerational conflicts fuel much of the tension, reminding viewers that in Genoa City, history is never far from the present. Another important element is the balance between business and personal lives. The Young and the Restless often thrives when it shows how corporate maneuverings bleed into marriages, friendships, and rivalries. If Wednesday's spoilers highlight Newman Enterprises or Jabot, then it is likely that boardroom battles will be reflected in private confrontations at home. The characters may fight over power in public while simultaneously battling their own insecurities and desires in private, creating the kind of layered storytelling that keeps audiences invested. For longtime fans, the September 24th episode promises continuity while still leaving room for surprise. Viewers know that Victor will always be calculating, that Jack will always defend his family, and that Phyllis will never stop scheming. Yet, it is the way these familiar traits manifest in new situations that makes each episode unpredictable. Spoilers hint at potential alliances and betrayals that will shape the coming weeks, but it is the actors' performances and the writers' ability to weave history into fresh conflict that will determine whether this episode becomes one fans remember as pivotal. On a broader level, this episode reflects how The Young and the Restless continues to evolve while staying true to its core identity. It balances romance, family drama, and corporate intrigue in a way that few shows can manage. By layering generational conflicts over personal betrayals and romantic entanglements, the series continues to prove why it remains a cornerstone of daytime television. The Wednesday, September 24th, 2025 episode seems poised to deliver a mix of emotional weight and strategic maneuvering, ensuring that fans remain hooked as the stories unfold. As the credits roll on that day, the audience will likely be left with more questions than answers, which is exactly how the show thrives. Who will side with Victor, and who will resist him? Will Kyle and Summer find any path toward trust, or will Audra exploit their fractures for her own gain? Can Sharon maintain her peace, or will she be pulled back into old patterns? And perhaps most importantly, how will the Abbott and Newman families navigate their endless struggle for power without tearing themselves apart? These are the threads that will keep viewers tuning in, and Wednesday's episode is set to weave them together in ways that deepen the drama while pointing toward even greater upheaval ahead. The brilliance of a soap like The Young and the Restless lies in its ability to keep both past and future alive in every single moment. Wednesday, September 24th, 2025, will likely remind viewers that even the smallest choices can have massive consequences in Genoa City. Whether it is a whispered threat, a broken promise, or an unexpected alliance, the seeds planted in this episode will bloom into storylines that stretch into the weeks and months to come, proving once again why the show remains an enduring force in daytime drama. The ephemeral nature of time is a central, unspoken theme that permeates every frame of the Wednesday, September 24, 2025, episode of The Young and the Restless. It is a day in Genoa City that feels less like a linear progression of minutes and hours and more like a complex tapestry where past, present, and future are woven together with threads of memory, regret, and desperate hope. The characters, each in their own unique crucible, are not merely moving through their day, they are grappling with the weight of what has been, the precariousness of what is, and the terrifying uncertainty of what is to come. The spoilers for this episode promise confrontations, revelations, and emotional collapses, but the true substance lies in the subtle interplay of these temporal forces, the way a single conversation can resurrect a decade-old ghost or a fleeting glance can alter the entire trajectory of a life yet to be lived. The most potent embodiment of the past's relentless grip is the unfolding situation surrounding Claire Grace and the Newman family. The revelation of her true parentage as the daughter of Jordan, the woman who tormented Nikki Newman, has cast a long, dark shadow that extends far beyond the immediate threat. For Victor Newman, this is not merely a new security crisis, it is an echo of every battle he has ever fought to protect his empire and his family. His mobilization of security is not just a practical measure but a ritualistic reenactment of his lifelong role as patriarch and protector. Every order he barks into the phone is infused with the memory of past threats, the constant scheming of Jack Abbott, the betrayals of former allies, the numerous times his children have been put in harm's way. His present-day actions are a direct consequence of a lifetime of accumulated paranoia and hardened resolve. He is not just dealing with Claire's mother, he is fighting the specter of every enemy who has ever dared to challenge the Newman name. This layered response gives his character a profound depth, illustrating that for a man like Victor, the present is never free from the burdens of the past. For Nikki Newman, the emotional impact is even more acute and personally devastating. The mention of Jordan's name is not a simple data point in a security briefing, it is a key that unlocks a vault of traumatic memories. Her struggle with alcoholism, a battle she has fought with immense courage and fragility for years, is intrinsically linked to periods of extreme stress and victimization. The re-emergence of Jordan, even through the proxy of her daughter, threatens to unravel the delicate tapestry of Nikki's recovery. The spoilers indicating her emotional spiral are not about a momentary lapse in judgment but a potential collapse of the defensive walls she has painstakingly built over time. The past, in the form of Jordan's legacy, is actively invading her present, threatening to drag her back to a version of herself she has worked tirelessly to leave behind. This creates a terrifying race against time. Can her present-day strength and support system, primarily in the form of Victor, hold firm against the onslaught of past trauma? The fear in her eyes is not just for her physical safety, but for the integrity of her very soul, a soul she has fought to reclaim from the clutches of her demons. Conversely, Claire Grace represents a character whose entire present is a negotiation with a fabricated past, and whose future is now terrifyingly uncertain. Having believed herself to be an orphan, she built an identity on a foundation of loss and loneliness. Her integration into the Newman fold, however tentative, offered a new narrative, a chance to belong to a story larger than herself. The revelation that her past was a lie, orchestrated by a vengeful mother, shatters this nascent reality. Now, she exists in a liminal space. The past she thought was hers is invalid, and the future she dared to hope for with the Newmans is jeopardized by the sins of her biological mother. Her predicament is a stark commentary on how identity is shaped by history. Is she the innocent victim, the grateful niece finding a family, or is she, by blood, an extension of the very evil that seeks to harm that family? Her Wednesday is spent wrestling with these questions, her present defined by a desperate need to prove that the future can be different from the past, that she is not her mother's daughter in spirit, even if she is in genetics. The clock is ticking for her to convince the Newmans, and perhaps herself, of this truth before suspicion and fear erode any chance of the belonging she craves. This theme of a future threatened by the past finds a powerful parallel in the ongoing tension between Billy Abbott and Lily Winters. Their conflict over the direction of Chancellor Winters is a classic struggle between two different interpretations of time itself. Billy's advocacy for the gambling app, Jabot Collective, is fundamentally futurist. He is captivated by the potential of what could be, the rapid growth, the market disruption, the thrill of innovation. He sees the past, with its traditional business models, as something to be evolved beyond. His vision is linear and progressive, always straining toward the next big thing. Lily, however, operates with a cyclical and conservative understanding of time. She is acutely aware of the company's history, the legacy of her family's name, and the repetitive dangers of high-risk ventures, dangers that are not abstract to her given Billy's own history with gambling addiction. For her, the past is not a distant country to be abandoned but a guidebook of lessons that must be heeded to ensure a stable and respectable future. Their confrontation on Wednesday, September 24th, is therefore not just a business disagreement, it is a philosophical clash. Billy's frustration stems from feeling held back by what he perceives as Lily's excessive caution, an anchor thrown into the past that prevents their ship from sailing into prosperous new waters. Lily's resolve, however, is rooted in the belief that a future built by ignoring the lessons of the past is a future built on sand. The temporal tension here is exquisite. Billy is so focused on a glittering, potential future that he risks repeating the mistakes of his personal past. Lily is so focused on avoiding the mistakes of the past that she risks stagnating and missing the opportunities of the future. Their partnership hangs in the balance, a delicate equilibrium that could be shattered by their inability to find a common temporal ground, a way to honor the past while responsibly embracing the future. The outcome of their dispute will set the timeline for Chancellor Winters itself, determining whether it moves forward boldly, cautiously, or not at all as a united entity. In a similar vein, but on a more intimate scale, the relationship between Daniel Romalotti and Heather Stevens is a dance dictated by the rhythm of shared history. Their connection is not new, it is a story with previous chapters, marked by romance, separation, and the enduring bond of co-parenting their daughter, Lucy. Their present-day interactions are perpetually colored by this shared past. Every moment of warmth is infused with the memory of what was, and every moment of conflict is shadowed by the reasons for their previous parting. The spoilers suggesting a deepening of their bond on this Wednesday point to a pivotal moment where the past and present converge. Are they simply rekindling an old flame out of familiarity and shared responsibility, or have they both grown and changed enough that their relationship can exist in a new, healthier present, unburdened by the ghosts of their former selves? This is a nuanced exploration of second chances and the possibility of redemption over time. For a relationship like theirs, time is not a linear path but a spiral. They are circling back to a similar point of connection, but from a higher vantage point, with the wisdom and scars of their experiences. The question is whether that elevated perspective is enough to allow them to move forward together instead of repeating old patterns. Their storyline is a quiet, heartfelt counterpoint to the high-stakes drama of the Newmans and the corporate battles at Chancellor Winters. It asks whether time can heal and renew, or if it merely dooms us to revisit our past selves and our past choices with a frustrating sense of déjà vu. Meanwhile, the storyline involving Devin Hamilton and Abby Newman introduces a different temporal anxiety, the anxiety of waiting, of being suspended in a present that is entirely dependent on a future event. Their journey toward adopting a child is a profound exercise in hope and patience. Their present lives are structured around the anticipation of a phone call, an email, a piece of news that will catapult them into a new future as parents. This waiting period is a unique form of temporal purgatory. Every day is measured not by its own events, but by its proximity to that longed-for moment. Their conversations, their preparations of the nursery, their quiet moments together, all are tinged with the bittersweet awareness of an absence, a future person who is not yet there but whose presence is already deeply felt.